All right, we are going to call this meeting to order because we are running about 16 minutes late.
Yeah.
So it is 2:06 p.m. on this 11th of April 2019. This is the April meeting of the Technical Advisory Committee for AMATS.
Sure.
Oh wait, first roll call. I almost forgot. We didn't have it on the agenda for me. I almost forgot. And we were waiting. So, Mr. Young.
Here.
Not Mr. Oswald or Mr. Hanson.
Here for Mr. Hanson.
Mr. Stitchett.
Here.
Mr. Van Hope.
Present.
Mr. Pelkey here. And Ms. Cormiller is here. We do have 6 members, so we have quorum. Woohoo! All right, now you can make public involvement.
Hi, all AMATS meetings are open to the public. If we have a business item or a presentation by staff or consultant, and then the committee will be given a chance to discuss it, and after that, the public will be invited to comment.
All right, first item before us is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second. Moved by Mr. Van Hope. I heard Ms. McNulty first, so are there any objections? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. We do have the meeting minutes ahead of us, in front of us, from last month, the 14th of March, 2019. Do I have a motion? I move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Ms. McNulty, seconded by Mr. Van Hope. Are there any objections? Hearing none, those meeting minutes are approved. All right, so moving right along, action item 5A is the Citizens Advisory Committee appointments.
So we have 3 seats open on that. We have the Assembly District seat from Mr. Weddleton's district, still waiting for an able-bodied person to show up. Really? We have our downtown seat, Assembly District 1, and I believe it's the Midtown seat is the name of it, Assembly District 4. And we have a couple of folks who are actually in the room with us today who have expressed interest in serving. And so we're very fortunate. Their backgrounds are such that I think they'd be great additions to our Citizens Advisory Committee. So we are asking for your recommendation to approve those 2 folks. You have their resumes on your iPad. It's in the memo as well. So.
Did you just say they're here?
They are both here.
Do we want to have them give brief introductions?
I think that's a great idea.
Hey, Karen, let's go forward first.
Sure. So my name is S.J. Klein. I'm an at-large board member of the Fairview Community Council. As of tonight, maybe if I'm lucky or unlucky, depending on your point of view, I'm vice president of the council. Anyway, I've been involved with DOT issues for a plenty long time. Really aware of the process, what we're going through, especially during budget situations, and looking forward to bringing perspective of the whole downtown district to this.
Okay. I'm Kelsey Ralph. I am a lifelong Alaskan, but I went away for 10 years and finally saw the light. Came back. I'm a transportation planning professor in New Jersey, but I'm looking to transfer back to Alaska, so what better way to get involved in transportation than this committee? And I live in Airport Heights.
I was going to add, that was one of my questions when I was reading through the information was, she's a professor at Rutgers in New Jersey. How is she going to be on a committee here? So it sounds like you spent.
I did, yeah. That's right.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Are there any public comments? Okay. Hearing none, the matter lies with the committee. I recommend moving them forward to the policy.
Second.
Are there any objections to the motion? case, you know. We don't get to actually make the decisions, we just recommend the decisions. All right, the next item is item 5B, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee appointment.
Yes, so we have an opening on that spot for, I believe, I think this is one of the public seats, but I'm not 100% certain. Either way, we have an opening on our Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, and I don't actually know this gentleman. He could possibly be in this room, and I'll probably massacre his name. Gary Shipley is the founder of the e-bike store, Alaska e-bike store, which, is that the one that's right down the road from you?
It is.
The e-bike store? Okay. And conveniently located very near my wife's new art studio. Just saying, just advertising. Anyway, so same sort of thing. You have a quick synopsis there on his background, and we're also asking for recommendations, policy committee for approval.
And Gary, just to confirm, he's not here today. Okay.
There you go.
Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Are there any public comments on this item? Hearing none, otherwise the committee.
Move to forward the Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee appointment to the AMATS Policy Committee for approval.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Gentile, seconded by Mr. Stidgick. Just want to make sure I'm spelling your name correct. I'm good with pronunciation, now it's making sure that There you go. Are there any objections? All right. You're so moved. Moving right along. Item 5C is the operating agreement update regarding air quality advisory committee seat on the technical advisory committee.
So this particular seat is the Air Quality Advisory Committee seat, and as you can see, sometimes we have challenges getting a quorum. I didn't plan this, but it's pertinent, I think. We have been trying to figure out how to fill that seat. The committee has not met in a long time, basically because it was formed when AMATS was in a non-attainment area for a couple of things. And we have since bypassed that, and we've gone into the limited maintenance area, which means we're improving our air quality. And that's great. We just haven't, that committee has not met in a long time, and we have not had that one representative from that seat on this committee in a long time. So our suggestion had been, see if I have this, well, he's leaving, I was going to our suggestion had been, as we were trying to figure out how to fill this seat, is utilize a member of our Citizens Advisory Committee to fill this position. That committee does meet regularly, obviously at least once a quarter, and it's a cross-section of Anchorage. It's one member from each assembly district, someone from the Chugach and from the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce's. It's from J-Bear, from the, missing, I forget what it is right now. Oh, the Federation of Community Council. So it's a good cross-section of the community. So our thought was, let's put this on here that we meet regularly, and it would be a good perspective to have. So that would be a change to our operating agreement. So you have that document before you, the suggested change to the operating agreement. In the process of writing that up, I realized that some of the titles in the operating agreement were still the previous version before the municipality did a reorganization. So I just updated those to show that a couple of those things that were divisions are now departments, the traffic department. So, and there you have it. There's a possible fly in the ointment that my bosses can share, I think. So.
Just for consideration, I would like to throw out another consideration for that seat. The city does have an energy and sustainability manager. It's Shannon Kilcoyne, who is previously the deputy director of Renewable Energy Alaska Project. And so while not completely apples to apples with the air quality seat, I think that her position is kind of somewhat in the same spirit of looking at sustainability and resiliency in the community. and think that with her background in looking at major infrastructure projects and how they could be more cost efficient, that she could bring an interesting element to this technical advisory committee. So I would like to just throw out that as a possible appointment or trade out for that position.
And I will say in response to that the previous two reauthorization acts related to the Highway Trust Fund, which is where we get our funding from and all that sort of stuff, have talked about kind of the greenhouse gas emission sort of things that some communities have more of an issue with than we do, but they certainly have shown that they're going to be going in that direction of looking more at climate change and things of that nature. So there certainly is some synergy that could be had there.
And just one more thing to that point is, the city is actually putting forward to the Assembly a climate action plan. A lot of you've probably seen that in a lot of the topics actually to do with land use and transportation, very relevant items that this board looks at plans that actually represent those items. So it would be in line with that.
Questions, comments, proposals?
So I'd like to know if the renewable energy sector has any other opportunity to interface with the AMATS committees. Do they have representation in any way that would allow for a cohesive representation from that industry? I guess what I'm asking is there a renewable energy committee of sorts that has an opportunity to interface with AMATS policies and plan recommendations?
So I don't know. Her position is new. It's been created in the last year. And it was specifically to put this plan forward and then to also help the city with municipal-wide, department-wide sustainable and resiliency efforts, both at the municipal level as the government and just as a community level as well. And as part of that, there is a subcommittee of department heads that are meeting to make sure that this plan gets implemented through each of our departments.
Okay.
But then in addition to that, there is a citizens renewable energy group that's going to be set up as well so that it can live independently regardless of any administration changes. And so I think there's going to be two groups, and I don't know that they've really thought out about how it would interface with other boards and commissions that exist within the municipality. So this would probably be the first step towards that integration and coordination.
Will she be a member on that renewable energy committee, or at least receive recommendations from that committee?
I would assume so. As the manager of sustainability and resiliency, I assume so, but I don't know. That's a great question. I did check with her. I told her I didn't know what the outcome of the conversation would be, but I did at least make sure that if it was passed, that she was interested and she had a very huge interest in participating, and we could have that conversation with her. The nice thing is I think that organization is so new that we can kind of help her write the playbook.
I think it's a great idea. I just want to make sure that that there are many ideas of thought that get considered to best represent that whole sector.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the difficulty with any of these positions, whether it's somebody who's nominated from the CAC or whether it's a sustainability role, is that even my role, your role, I mean, we are here to represent our departments, our groups, represent the role, but really, you speak for yourself, and citizens advisory, really, they may only speak for themselves. So it's kind of a risk you run either way, depending on who you have in that position. They may not speak on behalf of the entire group. So my hesitation, I said to Michelle before the meeting started, is just that this is a relatively new position, and we know how government works. Sometimes these positions come and sometimes they go, depending on whether or not it will last through multiple administrations or whether or not it'll be around. So my fear would just be that it could be in existence for the next couple of years, and then it could be gone, and then we're gonna have to go through the same processes. If that position doesn't exist anymore, then we're gonna have to redesignate, which, I mean, if it's going through us and then the policy advisory committee, it doesn't seem like it's that rigorous, but the difficulty we've had, and then one of the things is when we were considering having a citizens advisory committee member a couple of years ago, this discussion came up as well. It's just that it takes a little while to get somebody up to speed as to what the process is, what the roles are, what we do here as AMATS, what the role of the technical advisory committee is, and then once you, I mean, I'd say it probably takes a good year to get that person in up to speed, and then if they're gone, then you have to go through the whole training process again. That's just kind of I guess that's the nature of the game, though. So, any other questions or comments?
So will the Renewable Energy Committee be involved in the AMATS process? Will they have a function to review transportation plans
And sorry, she used to work for Renewable Energy Alaska Projects. Now she's Resiliency and Sustainability.
So I don't think there is a renewable energy committee.
Right, okay.
Yes.
So, again, I don't know, as I said, that's a newly established effort. So I think that if it seems appropriate, that if she's that representative from there, maybe she will review it with the larger organization and get their thoughts back and bring it back. I guess in my mind, I see that probably being what would likely happen. But again, we can have that conversation. If we want to move forward with this, I think we could have that conversation. And maybe before she is, selected or inducted or whatever, or appointed, maybe say that this is what we'd like to see if it is her, and kind of set the framework for what her role would serve on this body.
Is there any public comment on this item? State your name for the record.
John Weddleton, I like this conversation. It's great. It was the point made is the advisory BPAC and the CAC have a route to get comments to you and then to the policy committee. But I hadn't really thought about this sustainability group. But Shina would be great on this. I mean, personally. So, but then that aspect is really important. So, well, not last the mayor, but if you did, maybe the director who's in charge of that or someone on the committee, because the committee could outlast a mayor change. It's kind of like the BPAC and the CAC. It doesn't matter who the mayor is, you're still going to have them. And likely some kind of sustainability thing would be hard to stop.
And that's what they're trying to do, is that they're actually, as part of the concerted effort that they're doing with the municipality, there is going to be a citizens group that takes on that role so that it can outlive any administration. So I think in that way, that group will continue to live. Her position is under solid waste services, so I don't know if it makes more sense to say the director of solid waste services or his designee, and he could select that person, because that is where the funding for that position is coming from. So there's probably a couple different ways to dice it, but it does seem like the CAP plan as it's coming out, that it would dovetail nicely into having that voice to make sure that we're integrating those concepts into what we do.
Seems like a great idea.
Any other comments? Hearing none, the matter lies with the committee.
I think a procedural question.
Yeah.
What do we have to say? Do we have to move the first motion and then do a friendly amendment and want to change it to include a different?
Okay, or amend it. Or does her original motion just be?
The motion on the floor to discuss.
Yeah, you need a motion on the floor, so you can make the motion whenever you want. And then,
CEC and then change to it.
that's what she was asking, you have to do it that.
So I have to make a positive motion.
CEC.
So I would like to move forward the recommendation for the replacement of the air quality position for a member of the CAC with the amendment that it not be with a member of the CAC, but rather with the manager of, actually, the Energy and Sustainability Manager for the municipality.
Second.
Okay. So moved by Mr. Murphy. Mr. Stishik? Are there any objections to the motion? Because they're recording all of them. Hearing none. We are so moved.
Before we leave this item, Aaron pointed out to me that the title here, the Chief of Central Region Planning, has a different, forget what the exact.
Anchorage Field Office.
Yeah, the Anchorage Field Office. So I will just make that edit, if that's fine. That's just a minor edit, instead of saying Chief of Central Region Planning, just Anchorage Field Office Planning. Is that it?
Chief of Planning. for
Chief of
Anchorage Field
Planning.
Office.
Okay, so instead of Central Region Chief, so I'll just make that change when it goes to the policy committee.
Can I make a change that the chairman is whoever beats me in a game of Rochambeau? You know? Kidding.
Whatever you want.
Well, it says, I laugh because everything says designee or director's designee, but then it does say the chairman of TAC shall be the municipality's director of traffic. So it makes it sound like no matter what, it has to be me.
I will say this, that there are a lot of MPOs around the country that the chair of either their policy or their technical committee rotates. I think Fairbanks rotates.
Yeah. that's what you said.
So this is, there's certain things in the operating agreement that if we change, it could be considered redesignation,
Yeah.
which is significant.
Yeah.
I don't think changing the chair of the committee or how you want to decide the chair to do that.
Yeah.
So if you want to share the wealth,
Yeah.
Todd can do it all the time.
I asked him if he, well, I asked if we wanted to rotate and everybody went, no. And I was like, I'm not trying to be the queen of everything, but
Just because it's always been done, yeah, just because we've been doing something that way forever doesn't mean we have to keep doing it.
Well, if somebody wants, I guess, yeah, if somebody wants to nominate to change the operating agreement, to change the chair, I will change it, but I'm not going to change, so. All right. And you guys need,
Don't we also need to do a change to the intergovernmental operating agreement to accommodate the?
I don't think so. I think they're just going to have to change that language to what she said, that rather than
Right.
being the CAC, that they'll make the change. So, am I correct?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, next item on the agenda, we're actually through all of our action items, is project plan updates and the 2040 MTP update. Aaron.
Sure. I'm Aaron with AMATS. We're still working on the modeling to try and get it finalized so we can bring it in for a work session. Hopefully we can have that done this week, maybe beginning of next week, and then start scheduling our work session in the next couple weeks or so. Our goal is to try and get it all through approval in May so we can start releasing it for the public to be looking at the modeling results. But we'll see depending on how the work session goes.
Any questions for Aaron? So once you have the modeling, you'll send out information to schedule the work session?
Yeah, like I said, hopefully it's not going to be next week in terms of the work session, but maybe a couple weeks after next, we hope to have something scheduled, and we'll send it out, and it'll be the TAC, CAC, and Policy Committee.
Okay. All right. Are there any public comments on that?
I should have mentioned this earlier, but can I add a Spinard Road corridor update?
Yes, please.
So, as you remember at our last meeting, you folks had moved to release it for public review with 2 weeks to finalize stuff with the traffic department and DOT Central Region, or the Anchorage Field Office, is how it is now. So, and then after that, have the public review and have it released. So the project managers met with DOT and with folks from the traffic department to finalize the changes to the plan. Those changes have been incorporated, and they're working on creating that final planning document and hope to have that draft plan ready for you folks to look at or get posted soon, but probably by next Friday. So I think the idea is just to double check, they would send that out via email. That was what the plan was.
Yeah.
Send that out via email and you get a chance to look at it and make sure there'd be no fatal flaws, and then we'll have it posted for the 45-day review.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we're doing 45.
Yeah, we're gonna do 45. This is longer than we expected, but I don't want to cut down the 45-day review. We'll just have to make that go a little longer than we were expecting.
Okay. As far as I know, the meeting's all went well. And I think the caveats, I saw your email. I think they're good. As long as we following up and saying the language.
Yeah, I looked at an email earlier today. It looks like they are anticipating one more meeting, but they're very close.
Thank you to Joe.
Good.
All right. Is there any general information?
Sort of general information is that we will be hosting a National Transit Institute course in July, end of July, July 30th through August 1st. NTI and NHI, which is National Highway Institute, are courses that are sponsored by Federal Highways Administration and Federal Transit Administration. And so typically we, AMATS staff, will go around the country and they find one in Charlottesville or wherever they can grab it. And we are going to host the Public Involvement in Transportation Planning course. So most of my staff will be there. Some transit folks will be there. We get 10 slots, and then it'll be open to whoever wants to attend. So it'll be in this room for 3 days.
And it's just convenient, so that if anybody from out of state wants to come up, it's July in Alaska.
It's handy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first course I ever went to was a course in New York City. That's where I did my intro to MPO planning, which was also convenient, although it sure was expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
Well, that's true.
I think it's nice because most of the time when we have stuff up here in December, it's just the folks from Alaska, which is fine. So we might get some visitors.
Will you send me links so that I can forward it to the Alaska chapter of the American Planning Association?
I will do that. Yeah. The link is up right now. Just I can give you that. What I was first doing was getting the 10 slots,
Yes.
the MPO kits,
Yeah.
and I have 7 of those filled. So just got a couple more to make sure I get, and then I can send that link right now because that's open to whoever wants to go.
I know that a week from today, on the 18th, is the construction coordination meeting that will be in this room pretty much at the same time. I think it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I look on my calendar.
2 to 4.
Is it 2 to 4? 4. Yeah, it is 2 to 4 here, so. Same place, different time, but talking about all the construction projects that will be going on this year, and that has DOT, MOA, all of the utilities, so AWU, NSTAR, CEA, MLP, like everything, GCI, ACS, all of them, really. And I think everybody, I know I have an email to talk about all the additional projects and little things that we have that are arising from the earthquake, because there are additional on top of regular. So hopefully that will be a little bit of part of the discussion, is saying some of the known construction projects that are going to be happening as it relates to earthquake repairs and how that's going to relate to all of the other planned construction projects. So it's going to be a fun summer, everybody. I guess other general information related to that, just Providence Drive is going to be closed next Wednesday entirely for a couple hours.
Yeah, about half a day.
About half a
day entirely, then the westbound lanes will be open in about half a day.
Yeah.
We're going to just be for a few hours, but now we figured we should probably go on into our soil testing while we have the closure.
Okay, yeah.
And then we'll, at the end of the summer, we expect to have a full closure because the stream crossing is collapsing.
Yes.
And we have to fix it.
Yeah, so if you happen to be on the campus or travel through the campus area, please know there's going to be some pretty significant impacts a week from today for several days. We're trying to get it in and out of there before the Heart Run, and then the Heart Run has some major closures after that. So if you can avoid this area, probably Wednesday through Saturday next week, avoid the area, unless you're coming to the Heart Run. And then
We'll have it
somewhere
open for the Heart Run.
Yeah, exactly. Are there any committee comments? Any other committee comments? Oh, yeah. Are you going to make your announcement? Right.
Yeah, this is my last meeting for this committee, so I'll be moving on to other assignments.
And your new assignment's going to be?
So I'll be the new regional director for DOT, so starting 1 May, so Dave Kemp's last day is another chance. My position is currently available for if anybody wants to throw their hat in the ring. That closes on Monday. So we're hoping to get a good replacement for me well before the end of this month. And so, but it's been a great pleasure serving here, so thank you, everybody, the staff.
You're not going to go far.
I'm not.
I know. I was trying to get him to like say his new role. He's now going to be chairing the policy committee. So whereas I jokingly said we don't get to make decisions, he will get to make decisions.
That's right. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was good having you. It's nice you're going to get to play the fun role of chair, but.
I'll be looking at YouTube videos on Robert's Rules of Order. John, you can keep.
Lori is the best.
She will.
Lori,
She will keep
yeah.
you in line. She will.
There you go.
She's done great at picking me telepathically across the telling me, or at least she does give me points after the fact, so I learn what not to do the next time. So yeah, that's good luck. Any other committee comments? Any public comments before we close? Hearing none, well, thank you very much for being here. Back to the law class, or we are adjourned.